Hello and welcome to our free forecast. Today is Thursday, March 31st. My name is Robert Charles, and in this video you'll discover all you need to know to trade and forecast Chevron. Now we're looking at Chevron today because, as I'm sure you've heard in the news, President Biden decided to release strategic reserve petroleum, basically oil out of our strategic reserve at a large amount, really a record-setting amount over the next 6 months. And while we hate to be skeptical, you may notice the timing that corresponds roughly with the midterms coming up in the fall. Now, the question is that going to have any impact on the markets? Because that's what we do here. And if so, what? So we decided to look at one of the larger energy companies, in this case Chevron, and see what impact it had today. And as you can see with today's bar, really not much. It's a pretty small bar. We're going to show you where Chevron is or where it's likely headed next in a moment, but today's very minimal impact. You can see down here Chevron was down about 1.6%. However, the S&P, the general market, was down roughly the same amount. So essentially, it really just followed along with the market. Now, the president has been calling this the Putin gas price increase. That's a bit disingenuous. We show in our premium service, looking at the oil market proper, that the bottom in the oil market was in April 2020, so a handful of months after his inauguration. It doesn't look all that dissimilar from the Chevron weekly chart. Chevron bottomed up a little bit earlier, a few weeks earlier than the oil market. But the oil market, it relatively looks like the Chevron stock price. They follow hand in hand relatively closely on the way up. So this was the bottom, as you can see, long before anything in Ukraine happened. And as subsequently, the other issue from a fundamental standpoint, if we look at the technicals of the chart, if we take oil out of the strategic reserve, naturally that was going to have to be replaced. And since we're going to go to record lows if the plan is followed, what that's going to mean is demand's going to increase later. And don't forget that markets are forward-looking mechanisms. They're looking into the future, not looking in the rearview mirror. Anyway, what we have here for our Chevron chart is our long-term weekly, medium-term daily, and our short-term 60-minute chart. And let's see what we've got. We've got the Ichimoku Cloud system on the chart. Take a look at the weekly first. We also have our proprietary wave counts. They act similar to Elliott wave, but they are calculated a bit differently. The cloud system does have a wave count in place, and you're seeing what it mostly looks like. This is a proprietary version of it. And there's also targets. The cloud system also has targets on the board as well. So here we are looking at the weekly chart. We had a 0, 1, 2 wave. This was the starting of the uptrend proper. Kicks into a 3 wave with a 4 here. And we had a huge 5 wave. The 5 wave went up into the targets. We have this black line, and normally is inside of this box, inside this target zone. This is a resistance target zone. In this case, there's a little in front of it because the 4 wave was pretty shallow for a retracement relative to where the 2 is. That pulls us out of the support zone. But in any case, this is our resistance zone, not support zone. Sorry. Price went to the top of the resistance zone, and right now on the weekly chart is stalled, and it's stalled because of how overbought this market is. The cloud acts as the equilibrium point. Look how far away we are. We're at the top of a resistance zone. We haven't quite made it to the extended target, which would be wildly overbought, but we're pretty overbought at this point. Normally, a market that's overbought like this, it will go flat to down and let the cloud catch up, the equilibrium point. This cloud will start catching up sometime in September, so we expect sideways to down movement in the immediate future. It's not likely we'll go to the extended target first. It's possible, but it's a less likely scenario. If you had taken some of the buys we would have had in this market on the way up, what you'd be doing right now is trailing a stop. One easy way, if you want a simple trailing stop, is take a look at this conversion line. This is the faster of the 2 moving average lines in the cloud system. Market closes underneath that. That would probably be your out point. Obviously, many traders have their own trailing system, but that's one easy way to trail a stop. Or if you want to be a bit slower with your trailer, this baseline is even stronger than the conversion line for a support point. You can see how far away the baseline is from price, another indication that this was a blow-off top, which we called in oil. They had a blow-off top in oil as well. Now, if we take a look here at the daily chart, you see how strong that 5 wave is. This is an unsustainable move. We've gone into a clear bull flag on the daily chart. And you can see that today is bouncing around the conversion line. The conversion line in a bull, especially a nice bull flag like this, often will go right in the middle of it. we're right in the middle of the bull flag and sitting there right now because we're waiting for the cloud to catch up. The cloud right now is still down here. It will have caught up to price somewhere around April 19th. It's a nice part of the cloud system. See how forward looking it is. And we could see April 19th roughly going to have caught up to price. So again, we expect some more sideways or down action. There may be some vacillating. We may test the top, we may test the bottom and bounce around in here, which on a 60-minute chart, which we'll look at next, we could take some trades. But right now we have no signal in this market. We're waiting for this market signature where it wants to go. The odds are bull trends, bull flags with a big flag like this and a pole and the flag, they tend to break back in the direction which they came, which would be up. Without a 6-wave, we have a new target. So if we were to take a buy, we'd be using this extended target for the buy target right now. Take a look at the 60-minute chart. You see how flat it is. This is a big congestion zone. And whenever you see a flag on the daily, you go to the next time frame down, and that's what it typically looks like. We're bouncing around the equilibrium point, which is the cloud. We went below it, above it, below it. Now, interestingly, to all the world, this would have looked like a short-term downtrend. Imagine, for example, if this was a weekly chart, it would look like a big downtrend, but not to the cloud system. Price did go beneath the cloud, that's true. However, you have to look at the lagging line. And now, price right now is here. This dark blue line is what we call the lagging line. It lags behind price. So when price was down here, the lagging line is over here. What's important about this area? It's still above the cloud. Notice the lagging line never goes beneath the cloud. It's right now threatening to. So if price now starts coming beneath the cloud and pulls the lagging line with it, now we have the possibility of a downtrend in the short-term chart. That would be the first time it's been in a downtrend since all the way back here. All this alt move and all this sideways action so far, it has remained in an uptrend this whole time. Right now, however, is big congestion zone. And if you are bearish this market and you wanted to take a sell, you have to wait until we get into a downtrend. And that could happen soon, but it isn't there yet. So that's our look at Chevron. Chevron right now is in a holding pattern. It's in an uptrend on the weekly, uptrend on the daily. It's still in an uptrend on the 60-minute, but right now we are threatening to go downtrend on the 60-minute chart, which of course will happen first before this will turn. But right now we are not anywhere near in a sell signal scenario on the daily chart. So we're holding and waiting. But the big point is that the news of the petroleum reserve release really didn't move the needle very much in Chevron and the energy stocks. Didn't move the needle very much at all. It's just sitting there, roughly moving along with the S&P. And if we're trading a market like Chevron, Exxon, basically they're in a holding pattern. This market is sort of taking a break from its big up move. Remember, markets move vertically, then they go horizontally, then they go vertically. That's the big consistent cycle. And right now we're in a horizontal move that will eventually resolve itself. And of course, we will let you know when and if there are signals in the markets that we cover. And in our premium service, where we are covering the big oil market, if you become a premium subscriber, we'll let you know if and when there's a signal there as well. So thanks so much for watching today. We'll be back tomorrow with a different market for our free forecast. Thanks so much for watching. We'll talk to you.